Hi, it's YunaNostale, and welcome to Most Favorite Specialist tier list voted by you, the community. Before I start, I am now a NosTale ambassador, and you can redeem this code in Nosmall to support me as a content creator and my YouTube channel. You will also receive a little gift. If you stopped playing NosTale and would like to come back, you can do so by creating an account via my link. It's in the description. Now, let's get into the video. A little disclaimer, these specialists are ranked by the community, and there may be plenty of reasons why certain specialists are ranked higher than other specialists. This tier list is not a damage or meta tier list. Let's start with Swordsman. SP1, the warrior, ended up in average, which I somewhat agree with. It's a very basic concept, but it works. Also, they got buffed recently and they are not bad anymore. So, I kind of agree with it, although I would put it in the liked tier, personally. Now, let's move on to Ninja. Ninja ended up in liked. That's probably because it's one of the heaviest hitters in the game, but I personally also like how they look, and they also feel fun to play. Crusader has also ended up in liked, and that's probably because it's the OG ranged specialist for Swordsman, and it's a light element, and it's also quite strong and versatile. Now, we have our first fan-favorite specialist in the game, the Berserker. Berserker has really good buffs and a lot of AoE, and is generally very good in the Land of Life and in raids as an important debuffer. Now, on the other hand, we have our first disliked specialist, and it's the Gladiator. Honestly, they were made to be a good PvP specialist, but they suck at that as well, so yeah. The only good thing about them, in my opinion, is how they look. Apparently, that wasn't enough for them to be in any higher rank than the disliked tier. Battle Monk is next. I think the majority of NosTale players like how Battle Monk looks, and in my opinion, it's one of the prettiest specialists in the game, both male and female. And on top of that, they are incredibly fun to play. Battle Monk ended up in the liked spot. I am a bit surprised to see Death Reaper in the average tier, as I thought it was generally one of the most hated specialists, but people just like them, I guess. Also, I have always liked the way they look, so that may be the reason for this ranking too. Renegade, which is a total surprise, has ended up in the disliked tier. This I do not understand at all, since I thought they were really strong and also quite pretty, but I suppose people just prefer using the Crusader for raids, and then Renegade is kind of forgotten once you hit certain level. Now let's move on to the infamous Specialist 9, the Waterfall Berserker. Spoiler, this is the best ranked Specialist 9 out of all the classes, yet it still ended up in the average tier. I also think this is the best out of all of them, so it does make sense after all. In the same tier, we have the Dragon Knight. That's basically a very generic concept, but it works. And that's about it. But as I said earlier, for a light specialist for Swordies, players generally prefer the Crusader. Now we have the last specialist for Swordsman, Specialist 11, the Stonebreaker. I have to admit, I expected this specialist to be much higher, but it ended up in the average tier as well, even though it's the best fire specialist for Swordies. Now, let's rank the Archer. The very first specialist for archers had been quite strong for a long time. However, when Scout came out, no one ever played Ranger anymore. And that's also why I think Rangers are forgotten and disliked now. So yeah, they got the disliked tier. Assassin. Assassin has been through many changes, and in my opinion, they weren't the best ones, but they still managed to earn the liked tier. Destroyer. To my surprise, Destroyer is also in liked tier. I personally have always liked Destroyer's appearance, but their gameplay was just lacking, and to my knowledge, everybody felt the same. So it's surprising they ended up in the liked tier. But it's also worth mentioning that Destroyer is one of the best debuffers for raids. So now I think everyone expected this, but the Wild Keeper, along with the Berserker, earned the favorite tier. We just love Wild Keepers, don't we? What else is there to say? They are strong, fun, fast, they are good buffers, good debuffers, good in AoE and raids, and everyone simply loves them. Also, side note, I have always loved Specialist for lore quest. And now, from the best to the worst, the fifth specialist of archers, the Fire Cannoneer, ended up in the hated tier as it received 0 votes, and there's been over 300 votes, so The next specialist I think would rank much higher in the past years, but they received some nerfs and now Scout earned the liked tier, which still is very good. I think people like Scout for their fun gameplay, and I also personally love their simple design. This is a bit of a roller coaster, but now we have yet another one of the favorite tier specialists, the Demon Hunter, which I think everybody expected here, is also in the favorite tier. This specialist is similarly to Berserker very strong in AoE and Land of Life, and it also has some really good buffs and debuffs. And it's also good in PvP, not to mention this specialist is literally gorgeous for both the male and female. Now, the Avenging Angel. I have always liked how the Avenging Angel looks, or at least the female version, and even played and enjoyed playing them, but I never really understood their gameplay. This, however, doesn't apply to the majority of players, as they ranked Avenging Angel to the light tier, which is good. And well, now the Sun Chaser. So yes, archers have two favorite SPs, but they also have two hated SPs, and Sun Chaser, albeit is a very interesting concept, it doesn't really work. Even after they buffed them, it just does not work. Sun Chaser also received 0 votes and therefore ended up also in the hated tier. SP10 for archers, the Blaster, ended up in the average tier, and I think the only reason for that is that they are so annoying to play. I love their skills, I love how they look, I like the lore, but man, the gameplay is just clunky as hell and not really simple at all. So I think average is the right place for them to be in. The last SP for archers, the Fog Hunter, ended up in the liked tier, which I expected. I love their look, I love their gameplay, and they're pretty strong too. They're also a good debuffer and have some neat ranged skills. So yeah, that's our archer here. Now let's move on to mages. Mage's first specialist, the Red Mage, got power crept by newer mage specialists way too much. So similarly to the Ranger, Fire Mage ended up in the disliked tier. What a shame, I love them. Holy Mage ranked a bit higher and ended up in the average tier. And I think people just play Holy Mages because they have to, not because they want to. Their buffs and debuffs are just really strong, but that's basically everything Holy Mage does. Boring. Although, I love them too. Ice Mage ended up in the average tier as well, and similarly to Fire Mage, I think Ice Mages just got power crept so much with the release of Tide Lord, and then the Gravity, that there's just no reason to play Ice Mage whatsoever, like other than the buffs, right? The almost only gunner specialist for the Mage, the Dark Gunner, just got power crept last year with the release of Firestorm. Dark Gunner used to be... Wait, I said last year, but like, it's 2026 already, so I think, like, you know, in 2024, yeah. Dark Gunner used to be overpowered back in the day when their debuffs used to basically melt through the enemies, but now they barely do anything. Dark Gunner ended up in the average tier despite their beautiful design. Now we are getting onto Volcano. Generally, the 5th specialist and the worst tiers, but with Volcano, they surprisingly got into the light tier, which is the best so far. I think that's because, in my opinion, Volcano is the most fun to play mage specialist in the game. It's just so fast and agile and just fun. Sadly, they are not so strong, but still, people just like them, I guess, and so do I. Tide Lord. Tide Lord used to be the meta-defining specialist for mages, but they just aren't anymore. There's simply other specialists that are more worth to invest into, but similarly to Volcano, people just like their playstyle, so they too ended up in the liked tier. Now we are moving on to my personally favorite specialist in the game, the Seer. Seer has also received some nerfs and changes in their history, but they still remain one of the specialists in the game. I forgot to say one of the best. Yeah, they do. They still remain one of the best specialists in the game for both PvP and PvE. So yeah, and on top of that, their design is also very good, so no surprise for them to end up in the liked tier as well. Archmage, as the 4th mage in the row, also ended up in the liked tier. Spoiler, we are moving down in a second. I think archmages are just generally fun and great in AoE content, and that's about it, I guess. Now, the Voodoo Priest. When they came out, they were actually kind of a strong PvP option for mages, and probably still are, but they got nerfed so much, and now they are just buried deep under with the rest of the Specialist 9 characters. Yeah, Voodoo Priest ended up in the disliked tier. However, we are moving up. It's a moment. Gravity. Gravity ended up in the favorite tier, as it's basically the best specialist for mages by far, and also quite fun to play, and it's pretty on top of that. Like, what more can you wish for, right? I love Gravity. And now, SP11, the second gunner, the Firestorm. I have to admit that I expected something a bit more fun when they announced there was going to be another gunner for mages after more than 15 years. But I still do like Firestorm, and they ended up in the average tier. Now, the last but not least, the infamous martial artist class. Although I have to say I expected worse rankings of these specialists, so maybe you'll be surprised too. The Draconic Fist, which I expected to be even a bit higher, actually ended up in the average tier, despite being quite strong and the best fire specialist for martial artists. However, Mystic Arts ended up in the liked tier, which was unexpected, but they recently got some neat buffs and their design is literally gorgeous, and I personally also like them, so who knows, maybe martial artists just love Mystic Arts. Master Wolf earned the disliked tier as it got heavily power crept by the Thunderer. Also, Wolfmaster is just ugly and weird. Sorry, not sorry. Demon Warrior is a very weird SP. The male looks horrendous, but the female is really good. And also, they're quite strong, so yeah. Gooners have put this specialist into the light tier, and girl, I agree. Now let's move all the way onto the nymph specialist, which is the fire druid, and that's a flop. Like, I'm sorry, but it's what it is. It's a pure flop. Disliked tier, and I really agree with this ranking. Hydraulic Fist is quite pretty, but also quite average. Like, yeah, they ended up in the average tier, but I didn't expect much more. Like, I also didn't expect less. So, yeah, Hydraulic Fist, average tier. And for the last SP in the entire game, the Thunderer. Not only is it hard to pronounce, it also hits hard. They are very strong, very fun, and basically just very good. And I hope we'll see more specialists like this in the future, not only for martial artists, but like in general. So let's now reveal the worst specialist sets in the game. I think nobody is surprised that SP9 earned the worst SP title, as they are not only quite ugly, although they do fit the lore of Act 7 perfectly, but they are also kind of weak and weird and like goofy. The second SP spot got earned by SP5. This was actually kind of expected, at least by me, as SP5 just feels so outdated that even older SPs feel more polished. But now let's move on to the good stuff. The best SP set in NosTale is SP11, the newest SP. I think this is great news, seeing that NosTale devs know how to still create high-quality specialists, and yeah, hopefully we will see more like these in the future. The other best SP set is SP4. I think we all love Berserker and Wildkeeper, and also the lore is just chef's kiss, love it. So that's it for today's video, so thanks for watching, and please be sure to comment on this video if you agree or disagree. And I think many, if not most of you, will disagree, since these are just basically averaged places and it's all subjective, you know. So yeah, bye and have a good day.